we're all the same. The title might change, the Coptic church, the Eritrean church, the Syrian church, but we're all the same. Our message is the same. Now, today, I'm going to present you guys something it's a serious topic, okay? It is centered on family, but it is a serious topic not only for us, but for many people out there. And this is something that we truly need to understand. Number one, understand, okay? And secondly, not only understanding what's going on, but actually taking initiative and doing something about it. Now, when I was invited to speak, I was thinking to myself, God, I said, what am I going to say? There's so many things I could talk about, family, youth, whatever. There's so many things I could discuss, but there's something that this presentation I already did in my language already in different churches. So I translated it into English and I'll present it to you guys today. Now, I want to get to the main point so we could cover a lot of things. And basically the topic is good upbringing. Now, how many of you guys here are parents? Can I see hands? Okay. How many of you guys are single? No single? Okay, good. Oh, young man over there. Okay. All right. So this is, if you're a parent, this is a very serious topic, okay? I know, I'm sure many of you guys online or in person, you've been part of a lecture or a lesson on family. But I have a feeling today is going to be a little bit different. It is family-centered, but it is something different because this is something I feel like that we all need to talk about in our homes and in the church. Okay. Difference of upbringing. What's the flag behind me? Egyptian and Canadian. Okay, good. So this is so important. You know something, for me in my heart, the young people are dear to me. Okay, because I wasn't born back home. I was raised here. So I fight a lot for the young people here because I'm not concerned about the older generation. Whether it's our Coptic brothers and sisters, our Coptic fathers and mothers, the Eritrean, the Syrian, I'm not concerned about the older generation. You know why? Because you guys are solid in your faith. You know your culture. You know your faith. Now, the issue that we are facing now is very dire. This is a serious topic. What is the issue that we're facing? Regardless of which house that you go to, the number one thing I keep hearing as an Abuna is, Abuna, I have a problem with my daughter. Abuna, I have a problem with my son. Abuna, we're having a problem with these youth. Consistently. And you know what? I step back and, I hear different people talking. And let me tell you something. It's everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're Coptic. It doesn't matter if you're Eritrean. It doesn't matter. A lot of immigrants now are having issues with their kids. What is the cause of this? But for us to understand this, though, we must understand the upbringing. Is everybody following me here? Is everybody following? Okay. We need to understand the upbringing, okay? So the reason why I have both of those flags is just to compare, okay? The upbringing in Egypt and the upbringing here in Canada. You might say, how does Abuna know the upbringing in Egypt, right? I don't know the upbringing in Egypt, but there's one thing I know, that in our Eritrean culture, the Egyptian culture is 99% the same. It's the same. And if I'm wrong, you guys could interject in between, okay? You can save the questions for later, but just say, Abuna, no, that's wrong, okay? But I'm sure you guys are going to agree. Let's look at the upbringing. So number one, we're going to look at the upbringing back home. Number two, we're going to look at the upbringing in the diaspora. Do you guys know what diaspora means? Does anybody have any idea? The diaspora means? So when we say, but not only praying only won't help you. It has power, but knowledge as well. You need to know what's going on so you could equip yourself. So that's why I threw in religion there. Culture. Now, back in Egypt, the culture is simple, right? You have that one culture. In North America, do you have one culture? Multicultural, right? So it's multiculturalism in North America. Again, why is Abuna telling you guys this? I'm not telling you guys this for no reason. Because I want you guys to understand where your kids are being raised. In a multicultural society. You see, when you were born and raised in Egypt, you are only being raised in a one culture, a monoculture. One culture only. You know how that culture is. But when you When your kids are born and raised here, there's so many cultures. You got the Korean culture, Chinese culture. You have a Dominican culture, Cuban culture. So many cultures. And I'm going back to what I was saying earlier. And you're telling your kids, Habibi, we are Egyptian, we are Coptic, we are Orthodox, we are this, we are a culture. You know, it's good for you to say that. I'm not saying don't say that to them, but have an understanding of where they're coming from too and their upbringing. Let's continue. Generosity. Remember we talked about generosity in Egypt? You guys, you were helping me out. Is there generosity in Egypt? Are you guys generous among each other? Let me tell you something about North America, okay? Now, I remember too, when I was younger, I used to even hear my teachers saying, this is in North America, okay? Forget about back home for a second. Generosity is the same in our Eritrean culture, the same as yours. Now, help me out here so we can have a conversation. If somebody comes to visit an Egyptian family, usually, what's the first thing you're going to say? Have some food, right? Akul, right? Come on, eat. You know, if they say no, it's like being disrespectful, right? So, like I said, when I went to visit my grandmother a few years back, you know something? I went back home to visit my grandmother. You know, the family's happy. You got uncles and aunts. My mom was like, I'm like, how many uncles do I have? You know, how many aunts do I have? Even the non-blood related individuals are your uncles and aunts. Am I right? Everybody's your uncle and aunt. So, you know, they invite you, you have dinner in one house, you have dinner in the other house. You know, this is when I was learning from my culture. I said to myself, listen, you know what? In one house, they're like, eat. You know, they have that serious look. Eat, eat, eat. I'm like, this is, you know, my deaconhood days. I'm like, no, but I just ate. I'm full. I said eat, you know? And my mom is like, you have to eat. It's very disrespectful, you know? I'm like, oh my God, Mom, what's going on? Is this a culture? Help me out, guys. Is it the culture? Yes. Let me ask you another question. Is this coming from love? Yes. We want to be like Abraham, right? When somebody comes to our house, we prepare the best food, we prepare the best drinks, and you know what? I always say this even to my community. You know what? Even here in North America, if you have guests coming to your house, what do? You know, our cultures are the same. You're like, okay, this weekend, so-and-so's family is coming to our house. Make sure everything is clean. The mothers are going to clean areas that's never been cleaned before. Okay? Under the stove and everything, you know? So, and the fathers, you know what? You're going to prepare the best drink. You want to prepare the best for your guest, right? This is the generosity and kindness of our culture. Does everybody agree? Yes? Good. Did this exist in North America? Yes, it did. You know, I was very fascinated when I was younger. I used to hear stories about, you know, back in the day, and you could do your own, you know, digging about this. I'm talking about the European descendants that first came here. You know what kind of culture they had here? The generosity was so amazing. Let's say, you know, I noticed you guys have some bungalow homes here. Let's just say somebody moved in around this area. You know what the neighborhood would do? The mothers will get together, the fathers, bake a cake, get some food ready, knock on the door and say, hi, excuse me, welcome to the community. Generosity. Is everybody listening to what I'm saying? I'm talking about Canadian, North American. This is how it used to be. Good luck moving to a new area now. Who's going to come visit you? Let alone somebody visiting you, even your neighbor won't even say hi to you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's the case all the time. But this is the kind of society that it's become to. Okay, let's continue. Community, the unhindered function of community back home is due to its monocultural society. So the community, like I said before, because it's monocultural, right? So the community, it's much easier function, right? Satan's the best engineer out there. You know, from Monday to Friday, you know, during the weekdays, we're human beings, we get tired and we sleep and we rest. Does Satan sleep? He doesn't sleep. Day and night, he has a file, and his demons, the legions, have a file on us. How do I take down Abuna? How do I take down the deacon? How do I take down the board members? How do I take the fathers, the mothers, the youth? This is what Satan's working on. Every day, every minute, every second. As parents, you need to be aware. You know these things, but you don't know what I'm about to present you now, and you need to be aware of it. Because Satan, through beautiful words, kind words, sugar-coated words, he presents this to our youth and kids. And then you know what? Our youth and kids come back to us and say, Mommy, Daddy, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Okay. The spread of magic. You see this? The spread of magic, psychic, and mediums. This is haram in our culture and our faith. But this is normalized through the media. What's one thing that our youth or the younger generation is big on nowadays? The media, right? At least I remember when I was younger, we did not have phones in our hand. You know what I mean? It was the old big phones. I don't know if you guys can remember that. The big giant phones. Now, it's different. Back in the day, we didn't have access to the internet and all this information. Now, there's access to every information on their smartphone and on television. So this kind of stuff is normalized. Now, what did I say to you guys in the beginning of this conversation? And me and Abuna, are we concerned about the older generation? Are we? No. We're concerned about the younger generation. If somebody back home in your country in Egypt was going to come to you and talk to you about psychic and mediums, you would say, get out of my way. I am Christian, right? In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. I don't want to hear this. This is Satan stuff. I don't want to listen to you, right? Because you guys are solid, strong of your upbringing, right? But our kids, you're trying your best to raise them. They're raised among different religions, different cultures, and the media. And who's in charge? Who's the CEO of the media? Satan. It is a fact, because he's throwing different types of darts to manipulate this generation. So, psychic, magic, all these things. Let me tell you something today. What I'm presenting you guys today, you think I'm presenting this for no reason? I'm presenting this because Abuna, I felt like to present this? No way. I'm presenting this because this is the kind of stuff I'm hearing from different immigrants. From different types of immigrants. You know, the company that I used to work for in Waterloo, a very multicultural company. I used to work in that company. And in that company, we had a lot of immigrants from Serbia, Serbian Orthodox background. We had Iranian, we had Hispanics. We had different types of multicultural people, individuals. Now, in those days when I was a deacon, you know, a lot of these mothers, you know, during break time, you know, we would have conversations. They'd be like, Deacon, can I talk to you for a second, Deacon? And I'm like, okay, I feel like Dr. Phil here. You know what's going on? But I see the hurt. You're listening to what I'm saying here? They're crying. One Iranian lady, she's crying. She's telling me, Deacon, I heard you serve the church. Like, help me. I said, okay. And, you know, I looked at her. I said, she said, I'm from Baha'i. You know the Baha'i faith? She said, I'm not Muslim. I'm a Baha'i. She said, I'm having a problem with my daughter. I'm going through this and everything. I sat down with her to have lunch with her. And I tried to give her the best advice I can. The next day, a Serbian lady comes to me. And you know what? She's part of the choir in the Orthodox Church. Her husband is a chairman of the church. We became very good friends. She's crying at work every day. She works in the quality department. Every time I see her, she's crying and crying. In the office, she's crying. And I'm like, what happened? What's going on? My son. She only has one son. She had an open conversation with me. You know what she said to me? She said, Deacon, I came here with my husband to give my son a good life. Just like you guys did. All he does is drink, get drunk, come home late, and, you know, all these things. And I asked her, I said, okay, you guys are Orthodox, you know. We're practically almost family, you know. We're the same faith. I said, what are you guys doing in your church? Like, how are you guys communicating with your son? And when she told me, I was very shocked. I said to her, listen, it seems like you guys are not communicating. Is everybody listening to what I'm saying here? You know, there's a common denominator with a lot of these immigrants talking with them. They don't know how to deal with their kids. Because they're not, and I'm not, you know, trying to say this and that, but what I'm trying to say is you need understanding, number one. You need to understand where they're coming from and their upbringing and what they're going through. But my point, what I'm saying is everybody, regardless of what background, what religion, a lot of immigrants now are crying. They're sad. They're going through issue. And what's the common issue a lot of them are going through? It's with their youth and with their kids. So that's why the title was Good. Help me out here. The title of this lecture is what? Good upbringing, right? I'll continue. Here's this lady here, Teresa. They gave her her own show. I don't know about her, but I heard she became famous. She's a psychic. You know, she's helping people, you know, and things. You know something? Please don't sleep. Do your studies about these things to warn young people. You know, ladies like her and her group, you know, they go to people and they're being paid multi-million dollars having their own shows. You know, there's some people that expose these kind of people because they're really talking with demons. And a lot of people that are lacking faith, they go to these kind of psychics and they're saying, can I ask you a question, please? My mom, she died in a car accident. Can you tell me if my mom is okay? First and foremost, we are Orthodox Christians. Should we be going to a psychic? No. Even as Christians, period, we should not be going to a psychic. We leave everything in the hands of God. Yes? We believe in God. We don't mess around with these kind of things. But there are even out there so-called Christians, and I'm sorry to say this to you guys because I want to wake you up. Don't think to yourself, no, Abuna, no, this doesn't happen in our Coptic community. No, in the Eritrean community it doesn't happen. You better wake up. In some places now it is happening. Even in our own community, there's some people, they're lacking faith. Going to such individuals as the psychic here. So, like I said before, you know, we're more concerned about the younger generation though, because they approach them in a very tactical way. Ouija board. You know something, I asked my community about this, the Eritrean community. The fathers and mothers were shaking their head. They're like, Abuna, what is this? I said, yeah, because you're not born or raised here. You have no idea. This is the kind of stuff when I was in class, I remember my friends at school, I'm talking about middle school, elementary, they used to bring Ouija boards. Put up your hand if you know what this is. Only if you know what it is. Just put up your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see? Only few of you know what this is. Ouija board is basically, I don't want to go into details, but put it this way. It's a way of inviting demons to your house. They put a cup on top of the letters, and they'll ask question to a demon or an entity. Hey, can you tell me please where my mother is, or where my purse is, or where my jacket is, or where so-and-so is? And the glass will actually move and give them an answer. It'll spell it. So, your purse is in the basement, or your keys is here. But here's the problem. They present this here in North America as, no, it's fun. You could buy this in a store. It's fun. We don't have to worry about this. You know, enjoy your life. But you know something? This is a way of inviting, help me out here, inviting demons to your house. Stay away.